fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World. Today we're in UNESCO World Heritage Site, Evora, Portugal, with the Roman temple behind me, and then of course the cathedral, the Sé, right behind there. And today what I have for you are just some don'ts for those tourists that are going to come in here to Evora, whether it's a day trip from Lisbon or if you're going to stay a little bit longer to enjoy this beautiful city. And I think what I want to start with is actually, when you go to the San Francisco church, right next to it there's the Bone Chapel. And I want to tell you this. Don't get freaked out when you go into the Bone Chapel, because literally it is an entire chapel that is covered in human bones. Yes, so the monks actually covered the walls in human bones. So yes, you'll see femurs, you'll see skulls, you'll see all kinds of things. And for some people that might be a bit much. So I do want to warn you that don't be overwhelmed by it, because I'm showing the pictures now so you can know if it's really something you want to go visit. It is something you want to do. It's a nominal fee to go in, but it is well worth it. And when you finish with the Bone Chapel, when you come out, you can actually go to the San Francisco church, which is right there, which is a beautiful church to check out. So you can kind of say a prayer for your soul after you saw all those people that were part of a wall. Okay, so that's one thing, because that's one thing most tourists, when they come here, that's what they want to see. They want to see the Bone Chapel. Okay, now what you have to realize is this is UNESCO World Heritage Site City, so don't think you just go to the Bone Chapel and go, or just see the Roman Temple and go. There's so much here, from the walls to check out, the palaces that are here, the architecture that's here, because this place wasn't destroyed in the earthquakes of 1755 and other earthquakes that happened that kind of took out Lisbon back in the day. So that's why Lisbon's so like uniform in the Baixo district. Here you still have that old feel, so you can wander the streets. So don't pass that up. And honestly, I would say this, don't feel bad if you want to go eat on Plaza do Geraldo. That is the main square here in Evora, and when you're here, you're going to have some great food, and that's not a problem to eat there, so it's okay to eat on the main square when you are here. Now behind me, you see the Roman Temple. I want to say this, don't forget to come see the Roman Temple when you are here, but don't think that's the only Roman thing here. There's actually the aqueduct, the Roman aqueduct that's coming in from out of town. When you drive in, you'll see it. When you're taking the train in, you will see it there, and don't think it's only Roman aqueduct. There's been other work with it over the years as well. And what's funny is behind that, you see those two towers there? That's the Sé, the cathedral. My don't for that is, don't feel bad that the cathedral, which is, you know, an incredibly important historic landmark, is actually the third religious place you probably visit while you're here, after the Bone Chapel and the Roman Temple. Okay, so don't feel bad. When you go in, you can actually climb up the towers. You can climb up the tower on this side. You can go get a nice view over the city. You can walk around the cloisters when you're there. That's a really nice thing. And then you come into the church, and it's a medieval church, and it's just wonderful how they have it all together. They have all the chapels lined up. You just pay a little bit to light up the chapels if you want, but just walking around, you really can tell like this is a different kind of architecture than you see in a lot of other churches around Portugal, around Spain, on the Iberian Peninsula, because of its historical value. Hint, 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 one of the reasons why this is UNESCO World Heritage Site City. Because honestly, it's the largest medieval church here in Portugal. Now, another don't I have when you come here is, this is the Alentejo. And Alentejo is like feels like the hottest and driest region when you come to Portugal. And I want to tell you this, don't mess with the heat when you come here in the summer, because it can be oppressively hot. We're talking 40, 42, 44 degrees Celsius, over 100 degrees Fahrenheit when you are here, and it just bakes people when they come here. So a lot of people come for a day trip and they think, oh, I'm going inland, it's going to be cooler than I'm in Lisbon. No, this will be hotter than when you're in Lisbon. I mean, the Alentejo itself is a huge part of the country, but very small percentage of the people actually live there. And part of that is because of the heat. Now, another thing I want to tell you is, if you're going to be coming here, whether it's a day trip or you're going to be staying longer, don't skip out on Alentejo food. The food from Alentejo, that's like true Portuguese cuisine when you're here, and you can eat really well when you're here in Evora. And I think one thing I like to have the porco alentejana, the Alentejo pork, which is chunks of pork cooked up, and then there's clams in there, and there's fried potatoes with it. There's a lot of great food you can have when you're here. Now, if you're gonna book a tour from Lisbon to here in Evora, a lot of them will say, oh, we're gonna do a full day. You'll go to Evora, and then you'll see the megalith stone circle. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this. Don't expect Stonehenge when you go to the megaliths, because yes, there are the stones that are laid out. It's actually way older than Stonehenge, but don't think you're going to be like, whoa, wow, this is so cool. You do have to use your imagination a bit. I know when I went there with my friends the first time, most of us were a little underwhelmed by it, but it is something you should see, because it is part of human history. Now, if you're going to be driving here for a day trip, or you're going to be spending the night, one thing I would say is don't bother looking for parking within the city walls, just because it's kind of a pain. There's parking lots on the outside of the walls. That might be a better place to do, and just leave your car there and walk into the historic part, because though the city's a little bit bigger, when you're here, the historic part is relatively close by. I mean, from here at the Roman temple, it's about a 10 to 15 minute walk to the Bone Chapel, and that hits a lot of the sites in between. And if you don't want to drive, don't worry, you don't have to drive, because you have buses and trains from Lisbon that come here. They're both about an hour and a half, so it's not really too hard to do, which makes this a very easy day trip. And I want to tell you, don't feel like this should only be a day trip, but don't feel like you should feel badly if you only come here for a day, because Evora is very nice, but walking around and taking out the UNESCO World Heritage Site Center is something that can take you, most of a day, and then you could be on your way. So don't feel bad if it does become just a day trip from Lisbon, because it does have enough stuff to see to fill your day, but if you want to stay the night, you can as well. And whether you're here for a day trip or you're staying here longer, don't forget there are more museums when you're here. Actually, the building right between the temple and the cathedral there, that's the Museum of Evora. You can go there. There's a design museum. There's other places you can visit around the town. And obviously, a lot of great restaurants to eat at when you are here to enjoy that Portuguese food, the Alentejo, the real Portuguese food when you are here. But I just want to give you a little quick heads up about some of the do's and don'ts when you come to Evora, because I know it is a very popular day trip for a lot of travelers to Lisbon, so I wanted to help you out. So I hope you have a great time, and I'll say adeus from here in Evora, Portugal.